Good morning, Year 4. This is your Thursday's maths lesson. This is our last maths lesson together before half term. You've all done brilliantly this half term. It's not been easy, so well done to all of you. Our TLP today is can I solve problems where I have to convert between different units of measurement? So we are going to recap and solve problems using all the different conversions we've learnt so far in Year 4. Now, all these facts that are ones that we need to learn for our violet cards. Some of you will be working on these now, for some of you it will be a little bit in the future, but the conversions are just something that we have to learn. So we are going to recap time, length, mass, volume and money. And then we're going to use them, and then you're going to use them to solve your green, orange, red or super challenge problems. Let's start with recapping converting time. So we've just been learning all about this, haven't we, Year 4? So can you remember how many seconds are there in 1 minute? That's right, 60 seconds. And how many minutes are in 1 hour? 60 minutes, good job. How many hours are there in 1 day? 1 whole day. 24 hours, brilliant. And can you remember how many days are there in 1 week? Good job, 7 days in 1 week. And then there's 52 weeks in 1 year, 365 days in a year, 12 months in the year, we counted them, didn't we? And 10 years in a decade. And now let's just think, can you remember when we convert from seconds to minutes, we divide by 60, because there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, isn't there? When we convert from minutes to hours, we divide by 60, because 60 minutes in an hour. And if we want to convert from hours to minutes, we need to multiply by 60. And from minutes to seconds, we multiply by 60. Can you remember about converting length? We did this before Christmas. So we've got millimetres to centimetres. So there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. And if you've got a ruler there, you can look for those little tiny dashes. Those were the millimetres, weren't they? And then the slightly longer ones with the numbers on, those are the centimetres. So we've got 10 millimetres in a centimetre, 100 centimetres in 1 metre. So our long 1 metre ruler, that has 100 centimetres, and 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. So to convert between these, so from millimetres, if we're converting from millimetres to centimetres, we need to divide by 10. Converting from centimetres to metres, we need to divide by 100. Then metres to kilometres, we divide by 1,000. And then to convert from kilometres to metres, we times by 1,000. Then from metres to centimetres, we have to times by 100. And centimetres to millimetres, we times by 10. Okay. What about converting mass? Do you remember weighing fruit with Mrs. B before Christmas? So if you remember, 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So if we're converting from kilograms to grams, we need to times by 1,000. And if we're converting from grams to kilograms, we need to divide by 1,000. Let's think about converting volume. Do you remember doing volume or capacity with Mrs. Keeley or Mrs. Breeman outside? Yeah? So 1 litre is equal to 1,000 millilitres. And if we're going to convert them, if we're going to go from litres to millilitres, we need to times by 1,000. And from millilitres to litres, we divide by 1,000. So when you are doing your word problems in a minute, you can rewind the video to each of these sections, whichever one you need, and double check what calculation you need. Now, we don't have any questions on converting money, but I thought it would be good just to recap anyway. So here is £1. Can anyone remember how many pennies or how many pence is in £1? Here they all are. Can you tell how many are there? That's right. £1 equals 100 pence or 100 pennies. So if we did want to convert between pounds and pence, if we wanted to go from pounds to pence, we would times by 100, and from pence to pound, we would divide by 100. So now we're going to solve some word problems. So for our word problems, we are going to need our rucksacks. So we've been through this before, if you remember from the last word problem video. So step 1, we have to read the question. Then make sure you understand the question, underline some of the information if you need to. Choose how you're going to solve it. Solve the question, get an answer, and then check your answer. Now you can whiz through the video and find me modelling the level of challenge that you're going to do. You do not need to watch the whole video if you don't want to. And then the questions and the answers will be at the end. Okay, so let's start with this green one. So first step, read the question. Sasha drank 1 litre of water. How many millilitres is this? So let's make sure we understand the question. Let's highlight some key information. So Sasha drank 1 litre of water. How many millilitres is this? So we want to know how many millilitres is in 1 litre. Now, can you remember from earlier in the video how many millilitres in a litre? That's right. 1 litre equals 1,000 millilitres. So if she drank 1 litre of water, how many millilitres is it? 1,000. Good job. We've solved our problem and we've found an answer, 1,000 millilitres. Maybe we could check it. Do you remember how to convert from litres to millilitres? That's right, we need to times by 1,000. So if we do 1 litre times by 1,000 to get the amount of millilitres, 1 litre times by 1,000. What's 1 times 1,000? Good job. 1,000 millilitres. So we've checked our answer. We've got the same answer twice. So we can write Sasha drank 1,000 millilitres. Okay, let's have a look at this orange one together. So step 1, read the question. Douglas weighed some sand that was 2 kilograms in mass. How many grams is this? So let's make sure we understand what the question is asking us. So Douglas weighed some sand that was 2 kilograms in mass. How many grams is this? So we need to convert 2 kilograms into grams. How are we going to do that? Can you remember what is the conversion from kilograms to grams? That's right. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. So to get from kilograms to grams, we need to times by 1,000. That's right. So we know we need to times by 1,000 to get to grams. That's what we're going to do. So let's solve it. So 2 kilograms times by 1,000 equals how many? What's 2 times 1,000? That's right, 2,000. So our answer is 2,000 grams. Good job, everyone. Let's have a look at this red one together. So our first step is to read the question. So Carlos has a 1.2 metre long piece of wood. He wants to cut it into 3 equal lengths. How long should each piece be in millimetres? So now we need to understand the question, don't we? So let's highlight some important information to make sure we understand. So Carlos has a 1.2 metre long piece of wood. He wants to cut it into 3 equal lengths. That's really important, isn't it? That the 3 pieces are equal. How long should each piece be in millimetres? So we need to make sure our answer is in millimetres. So we've understood that we need to divide 1.2 metres into 3 equal lengths, and we need to know how long each of those lengths are in millimetres. So to choose what to do, can we convert from metres to millimetres directly? Well, it is possible, but if you remember from our diagram, we know how to convert from metres to centimetres and from centimetres to millimetres. So we could go through those steps, couldn't we? So to go from metres to centimetres, what do we need to do? That's right, times by 100. And from centimetres to millimetres? Yeah, times by 10. Brilliant. So let's start with 1.2 metres times by 100. What's 1.2 times by 100, year 4? Yeah, so we need to move 2 places to the left. So that will be 120 centimetres. So now we've got our centimetres, we need to convert to millimetres. So 120 centimetres times by 10 should give us our millimetres. So what's 120 times by 10? That's right, 1,200 millimetres. Right, now we've got, so we know that 1.2 metres is 1,200 millimetres. Now we need to work out our 3 equal lengths. So 1,200 millimetres divided by 3. I don't know how to do 1,200 divided by 3. But we do know how to do 12 divided by 3. What's 12 divided by 3, year 4? That's right, 4. So if we scale up, what will our answer to 1,200 millimetres divided by 3 be? That's right, 400 millimetres. So our answer is each piece should be 400 millimetres long. Okay, so the super challenge. Let's start by reading our question. So Jessica's shoebox is 20 centimetres long and 10 centimetres wide. How many more millimetres is the length of the shoebox than the width? Explain your answer. And let's make sure we understand the question and highlight some important parts. So Jessica's shoebox is 20 centimetres long and is 10 centimetres wide. How many more millimetres is the length of the shoebox than the width? Explain your answer. So we've got it's 20 centimetres long and 10 centimetres wide. And we need to know how many more millimetres the length is than the width. And we need to explain our answer. So now we need to choose what to do. So the first thing we can think about is that the answer needs to be in millimetres. So let's convert from centimetres to millimetres. So 20 centimetres. What do we need to do to convert to millimetres? That's right, times by 10. What's our answer? Yep, 200 millimetres, and that's long, because it's 20 centimetres long. 10 centimetres, convert to millimetres, times 10 again. What's 10 times 10? That's right, 100 millimetres wide. How many more millimetres is the length than the width? So it's 200 millimetres long and 100 millimetres wide. So we need to know how much longer it is than it is wide. So let's do 200 millimetres, take away 100 millimetres. 200 take away 100, year 4? Good job, 100 millimetres. And now we need to explain our answer. So I would write something like this. The shoebox is 200 millimetres long and 100 millimetres wide. 200 millimetres minus 100 millimetres is 100 millimetres. Therefore, the shoebox is 100 millimetres longer than it is wide.